Alright, this is Dr. Jin Sung here, and welcome back to our Dr. Jin Sung show. This is week number 3. Today we're going to be reviewing Hashimoto's Thyroiditis, which is a thyroid condition. Before I get started, I want to talk about all the people who subscribed and liked our page. We had over 6,000 views last week on our video on basic thyroid function. So I want to thank all the subscribers. I also want to thank all the people who liked it and shared it with other friends and family. This is a great way to share information, and I'm excited about being in front of the camera this week. Today we're going to talk about Hashimoto's Thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune condition where the immune system, which lies in most of it in your GI tract, goes and attacks your thyroid gland, causing hypothyroidism, or under-functioning thyroid. The number one cause for hypothyroid worldwide is goiter or goiterogenic problems because of iodine deficiency. Here in the United States, the number one cause is Hashimoto's Thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune condition. So this is rarely addressed within the medical community in terms of how to take care of patients who have autoimmune disease regarding the thyroid. So if you went to your doctor and your TSH, which is your number one marker that they would check, if your TSH is elevated, they are going to check, if the TSH is elevated, they're going to give you a hormone called synthroid or levothyroxine or Levoxyl, one of the T4 medications to help with the TSH. But they fail to check if you have Hashimoto's Thyroiditis, which is kind of amazing to me since the number one cause for thyroid issues is Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune disease. So let's go into what the autoimmune disease is and what the triggers are and how can we help patients with autoimmune disease. So first thing is autoimmune disease is basically your immune system overreacting and attacking your tissues in the body. Hashimoto's Thyroiditis is when your immune system attacks your thyroid. Rheumatoid arthritis is when they attack your joints. Crohn's disease is when they attack your intestinal lining. Celiac disease when you have problems in your small intestine due to gluten. These are all autoimmune diseases. But in case of the thyroid, they rarely address the autoimmune process. So what are the symptoms for people who have autoimmune thyroid? Okay, one, you can have up and down in terms of your symptomatology. Some days you will feel like you're tired, exhausted, you want to sleep a lot, your hair is falling out, and then some days or some weeks you feel like you're hyper, you have so much energy, I can't sleep. I feel like I have loose stool instead of constipation. So your symptoms will go up and then it will go down. Just get this waxing and waning of your symptoms. That's because your immune system is not functioning correctly and it's attacking your thyroid periodically, giving you these abnormal symptoms that are either hyper or hypo. Okay? Number 2 symptom that you look for is you're on a medication, yet you don't feel good. You're on a thyroid medication and you still feel the same way you did before. I still feel tired, I feel constipated, I'm losing my hair, my skin is flaky, right? I sleep 12 hours and then I need another nap. It's very, the symptoms don't disappear with medication. Also, when you look at your lab markers, your TSH, the thyroid stimulating hormone marker, will go up and down. Up and down. You get this up and down roller coaster ride of your TSH number. And then your doctor may increase your meds, decrease your meds, increase your meds. So you go on this merry-go-round of just chasing the TSH number or the thyroid stimulating hormone number and with the medication over and over. Okay? And then over time, as the autoimmune attack destroys your thyroid, you will start to need an increased dosage of your medication. So a year, 2 years goes by, now that 50 micrograms of Synthroid is no longer working. Now you have to go to 88 and then go up from 1 to 112. So your medications keep increasing over time. And that's because your autoimmune attack has destroyed your thyroid to the point where it's now producing less. So you need more medications to keep up that TSH number, okay? So just to recap, your symptoms go up and down. You're non-responsive to the medication because you feel the same regardless of what medications you're on. Your TSH number will go up and down a lot, and then you'll have a consistent need for increased medications if over time, basically. You'll increase your meds over time, okay? Now, since you have these symptoms, you have to ask yourself, now what causes the autoimmune problem? What causes the Hashimoto's thyroiditis, okay? So here are some triggers. One is toxic, we live in a toxic soup. Basically, the world is polluted, our food source is not great, right? There's a lot of herbicides and pesticides and these things that they use to enhance our food products. Therefore, our immune system is just not ready for it. And we have an autoimmune process that can occur. It causes inflammation, and it causes so many different things when you have inflammation going on in your body. Okay? The next thing is vitamin D levels. You have to have proper vitamin D levels. There are many people who have what we call genetic defects or polymorphism in the vitamin D receptors, and those people will need increased vitamin D, or they may be, they have to be careful not to go too high on their levels also. So vitamin D levels are very important as a trigger. And then gluten. So gluten is probably the #1 trigger in terms of food for Hashimoto's thyroiditis. There's a correlation between people who have gluten sensitivity and Hashimoto's thyroiditis. And oftentimes people who have celiac disease, which is the autoimmune version of gluten problems in the GI tract, they have a higher prevalence of autoimmune disease for the thyroid. Okay. Also, people who take excessive iodine. Sometimes iodine can trigger an autoimmune process in the thyroid. So either having too much iodine or too little iodine can be problematic. The best way to do it is really test for it. And there's a Dr. Brownstein who is an expert on iodine and how to use iodine. So you might want to look him up. His name is Dr. David Brownstein. Okay. The other triggers are insulin surges. Basically, your blood sugar goes up and down. So those people who have between meals, they feel very tired or sluggish or angry or irritable, and they need to eat something or else they're going to kill someone. Those are the people who have low blood sugar problems. They're hypoglycemic. You've seen that commercial with the Snickers bar, right? If they're hungry and angry at the same time. Those are the low blood sugar problem people. Then you have the insulin resistant people where they're borderline diabetic but not quite diabetic. These people have these symptoms where they feel fatigued after meals, they want to take a nap, or they crave sweets afterwards, right? So those people have high sugar issues, and that can be a trigger for autoimmune disease. The other thing is GI infections. A lot of people have H. pylori infections or even pinworms or even other parasitic infections in their GI tract, and they have no idea. So if you have severe constipation, if you have loose stool, you should have a parasite testing. I use a company called Diagnostic Solutions Laboratories to look at your stool sample and figure out what is going on in your gut ecology. Okay. The other one is things that can happen naturally. So especially for women who have hormonal surges. So when do we have hormonal surges? When a young child goes into puberty, and when they first menstruate, they have this big spike in hormones that can occur, and they have a hard time clearing these hormones, and then it can create or trigger a push towards autoimmune processes. So Hashimoto's thyroiditis, one of the first places we look is, do we have issues around that time, around when the young girl hits puberty, or when they get pregnant. Women get pregnant, their hormones will surge also. So oftentimes after giving birth, they're tired, they're depressed, my hair is falling out, I don't know what's going on. And they end up going to their doctor and they go, oh, you have postpartum depression, right? But what if you don't have postpartum depression? What if you have Hashimoto's thyroiditis? They're giving you an antidepressant for a thyroid condition. So anyone who has postpartum depression, hair loss, fatigue, and all those different signs after the birth of a child, they should absolutely check to see if they have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, okay? And the two markers are TPO and TGB antibodies. You need to check those two antibodies to see if you have Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Okay, so make sure you check that if you have a child and you're fatigued afterwards, okay? And then another time is at menopause. When we have, again, hormonal changes, women can get triggered into having an autoimmune process going on. So always check to see if you have issues around menopause, if you feel tired, fatigue, hair loss, and those types of things. Always check for that. Another thing you want to check is heavy metals, okay? Give me 1 second here. Got to turn that timer off. Heavy metals. So people don't realize they can get heavy metal toxicity just by having fish all the time. Eating fish every single day may not be the best thing for you because it can accumulate metals in our system, okay? So always make sure fish products in moderation and stay within the low mercury index for fish, okay? The smaller fishes tend to be better. The other things that we look at is in triggers is, excess uses of plastics because that gets in our water system. Essentially the world is polluted. We have to do the best we can. We have to try to filter our water to get the best quality water. Try to eat organic whenever possible. You got to do all those things for you to feel better, okay? I want to give you a couple of tips in terms of helping people who have autoimmune thyroid or Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Number one is heal the gut. Make sure your gut is in order. You don't have reflux disease. You have good digestion, good bowel movements. You have to have your gut in order because your gut your stomach has basically 80% of your immune system, okay? So you got to have your stomach in order. Number two, vitamin D. Make sure you can get your vitamin D level up to between minimum of 60. I like to see it between 70 and 90 in terms of your blood work. So if you can get your vitamin D levels up, that's very important to do. Another thing you can do is increase good fats, avocados, coconut oil, etc. But also EPA, DHA, your good old cod liver oil, your fish oils, okay? You can get good quality distilled fish oils, that way you don't get the heavy metal exposures and those types of things. But always increase good fats in our diet, okay? The last thing is improve glutathione levels. You have to improve glutathione. Glutathione is an important antioxidant and it's produced within the liver, and you want to improve that level because rather than the body taking the blunt of all the oxidation or stresses into our body, you let glutathione do that. Glutathione is an important shield for that bullet that comes in towards us. It helps to block those things, all right? I'd like to show you two products here. I have no affiliation with any company or any product, but here it is. This is the vitamin D that I will use. It's called an Emulsi D3. It's an emulsified vitamin D. The company's name is Designs for Health. I like it because it's high potency, it's emulsified, and it works. It gets your levels up to where it needs to be, okay? Always check your vitamin D levels and make sure it's monitored by your physician because you don't want to go too high with your vitamin D levels because it can become toxic at high levels, okay? So always check for that. This is a product that I use to improve glutathione. It's called Glutathione Recycler. It's by the company Apex Energetics. It's a formulation of different things that help provide the cofactors and nutrients to improve glutathione levels in our system, okay? Other ways you can improve glutathione is having a cold shower. If you took an ice cold shower, it would improve glutathione levels. It also improves hormones, endorphins, and enkephalins, endorphins, good hormones that feels that's healing in nature. Okay. Another thing you can do for glutathione level is coffee enemas. Yeah, coffee enemas. If you looked up different things online and look at coffee enema has an important effect on glutathione level. So consider doing coffee enemas to improve glutathione levels. Now, whatever instruction that I give you or any tips and those types of things, you really should be doing it under the supervision of your physician. Don't just go ahead and say, I'm going to take whatever he tells me to take, because that's just not the way. Because everyone is individualized, and you need to figure out what the triggers are, and then help heal the body in a natural way. Okay? Again, I'd like everyone to subscribe, like the video, and like my page, so you can get weekly updates. Next week is going to be Tuesday at 12:30, and I'll see you there. Okay? Have a great day.